I'm Stephanie Posey. I'm the owner of Posey Law Group LLC. I'm an estate planning attorney and small business advisor in the western suburbs of Chicago. I've been a solo attorney for about 17 years now, and it has been equally terrifying and exhilarating, and have really learned a lot professionally and personally about myself as part of this journey. I knew that I needed some assistance, was really overwhelmed with some work, and thought it would be a worthwhile effort to give it a try. And as a solo attorney wearing all the hats, I really wanted someone to provide some assistance with onboarding and training staff. That was another hat that I needed to take off. And so that was one of the things that was really great, is the prep and the back office onboarding for new staff members. That was a great added value for me. It's as a solo entrepreneur, having as much support as you can is really helpful. Having people that are that you can talk through what your strategy is for your business, and then offer their input as a professional. Seeing other solo attorneys working in a similar way is really helpful. One thing, really the most value that I got out of Stafi, or one of the big things that I enjoyed with Stafi, is finding the staff member to begin with, sifting through doing the pre-interview process, and really trying to listen to what it is that I'm looking to do and matching someone. That was a big help. That's another great way to think strategically about your business. Again, to have someone hearing you articulate what it is, where you want to go, and what where the holes might be in your process, and for them to reflect that back to you and then offer some suggestions, or even just listen to what you're saying and map it out. You know, when we had our session, that was very comforting to have someone who isn't in the nitty-gritty, isn't talking to me on a regular basis, hear what I'm saying, and being able to translate that into something, into a working document that I can then use going forward, was very, very helpful and validating. Because if some stranger is hearing what's going on in my head and is being able to say, yes, I hear what you're saying, I see where you're going, that tells me, okay, I am going in the right direction here. So very helpful. I think it is very helpful. Certainly what we do as solo attorneys is unique to law firm life. And so to have a program to have that kind of back office support, there's less onboarding for me to do, to have to explain, look, this is how a law office works, or a small solo office works. I think that I'm already working in the context, and so to have Stafi already operating in that context, that made it a lot easier, I think, on me. During the session, the leadership session that you and I had, you and I talked about my staffing needs, and in terms of where and in what order I needed to make that. So you actually noted, I think correctly, that I probably needed to put more emphasis and more attention to marketing support, and having a marketing director really be more of a focus. And that, I think, was an interesting perspective. I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, but it did give me an interesting perspective that, frankly, I'm still thinking about. So, in the end, I may come around, but still working on that, still kind of chewing on that. And so that is really part of the big strategic puzzle piece for me right now. Because my resources are limited, I have to think about really, really hard about how I fit these puzzle pieces together in order to reach the vision, to reach the result that I'm trying to get in the time period that I'm trying to get. and there's a lot of different moving pieces at the same time. And so again, to have that perspective and to have someone offering a slightly different, fresh take than what I have really been marinating in for months is helpful. To have just a different set of eyes is, I found to be very, very helpful and insightful, frankly. So that was like a really big takeaway for me, is like, okay, well, maybe I need to be thinking more about marketing. I think it's really, really helpful. I think it can be very helpful. I think coaching, when it's done well, can be extremely impactful and could reset a course that you're on and find efficiencies in your workflow and in your strategic plan that maybe you're not seeing because you're wearing all the hats and you're in the weeds. So I think it's good to let other people in that aren't deep in your business every day. Having a leadership session is a way to take, it forces you to take an inventory of what your current resources are and where you want to end up, and then helps you carve out a very clear, direct path to how to get there using the limited resources that you have, and maybe gives you places to open up a lane that maybe you didn't, a revenue lane that you didn't realize existed. And like in my case, for example, I've known that I need to put more attention to marketing. And I know that that's a hat that I need to take off of my head. So to be able to have someone offering an outsider perspective, saying like, okay, well, maybe you should really look at that. And maybe that needs to actually come a little sooner than later. Could be a really big missing piece in the plan that I'm implementing in the long run, and in the short run, I guess too. I think because as a solo attorney, you spend a lot of time on your own. It can be kind of a lonely experience. And so to have someone, as I said earlier, to have someone who I don't know very well hear what I'm saying and then articulate it in a way that I would have said it too is validating. And so it's a sign that I'm on the right track and that my instincts are correct. I may not know the exact plan to execute, but to know like, okay, this feels right. I'm hearing someone else say, yes, I can see what the vision is. That's validating, and then it's to me that's important. That's an important sign that I should keep exploring that. And it could mean, like in the case of marketing, maybe I haven't landed in the same place that, like you, for example, were suggesting that I need to put more resources towards. But as I said, I have been thinking about it, like, okay, am I missing something? And it shines a light on things that I need to maybe investigate more and be a little more curious about. And it helps me get out of my own head. I think that's a big important piece.